Jasmine, if you'd like to share your screen.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So you are seeing my screen. I'm about to start or present. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and let Maritza, my colleague, start it off.
So howdy, everyone. My name is Maritza Garza. I am an academic advisor at Texas A&M. And with me, I have Jasmine Zenn.
Hi. So yeah, I'm Jasmine. I am a first-year grad student, but I'm also working in our student union with advising a student organization.
So today, our topic's going to go over women empowering women in student affairs. So before we actually get started into the nitty-gritty, we did want to make a shout out to 4 other lovely individuals that have helped us with this. Paige Hellman, Taylor Henderson, Whitney Heinze, and Amaret Ranieri. These ladies have been such a support for us going through this process of creating this PowerPoint and all, and just in our professional lives. So we really want to give a shout out to them. Our original NASPA conference presentation involved all 6 of us, but we decided Jasmine and I would take over for this one. So here we are. So today, we're going to go over some quick things. So we're going to talk about really briefly the theoretical framework behind how we framed this talk for today, and then navigating the higher education landscape and questions and takeaways.
Yeah, so our theoretical framework, we use 3 theories. 2 of them are specifically more related to career development because we did all meet in the Career Center. So we're going to go over them very briefly because it's not the main point of, because, you know, time-wise, we're just going to go over them very quickly. So the first one is Super's lifespan, life space theory. And the reason why we have this as a theoretical framework is because we truly believe that empowering others doesn't come in a vacuum. It does matter where you grew up, where you came from, and the geographical factors that are around you. So like society, policy, what your own personal needs are, all of those play a role in how you want to be empowered and how you give that empowerment. And then Baxter-Magolda's self-authorship theory, what is a presentation without that being somewhat mentioned somewhere? So this is mainly about yourself. So while you're empowering others, it's important to know yourself as well and be the author of your own life. And so how do you know what you know, and who are you? These are all important questions whenever you're trying to construct relationships and empower others. And then lastly, we use Aston's environment output theory. And so the important thing that we wanted to bring from this is that the environment really does play a role. While you want to put in things and you want to get things out, there is going to be environmental factors that affect all of that. So you may want to empower someone, but maybe the way that your institution is set up is going to affect that, or the way that your boss is going to affect that. So all of these environmental things are important to whenever we're trying to have an output of empowering others or making an impact on someone. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so when we were discussing this topic of how women can empower women, or how women can be empowered in the workplace, not even just by other women, but men as well, we were really looking for some practical, kind of tangible tips that we could provide for new professionals to take with them when they go on, whether it be a new place or to start implementing where they're at currently. So we actually found a really cool Forbes article that goes through 10 tips that we felt that Jasmine and I have experienced throughout our current professional life that have really helped us not only empower others, but how others have empowered us as females in the workplace. So the first tip we have is celebrate each other's strengths. So of course, knowing your own strengths and how you can leverage them within the workplace workplace is important for you to know, especially when you're starting off with like team building and really getting to know each other. How can you use your strengths to celebrate others and support others? How can they supplement? How can others' strengths supplement your own? And just having those conversations of who you are as a person and how you guys can complement one another and really empower each other. The second tip is connect them to the right people. So I know for me, Texas A&M is a very large campus. So when I first started my career, it was in the Career Center, and I really didn't know anyone. I had done my undergraduate there, but as far as knowing professionals within the university, I had only known them in a professor type capacity, faculty based kind of thing, and only within the College of Geoscience. I really didn't know anyone else. So when I actually started at the Career Center, I was able to start meeting more and more people. So the biggest thing, network. We hear that all the time, so what does that actually mean? Talking to them, introducing yourself to them, but not only that, again, we're empowering others. If you just walking along, walking to lunch with a colleague, and you just so happen to see someone that you want to say hi to, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if you know this person, let me go ahead and introduce you. That goes like so far. I know that happened more times than I can count, where others on my behalf just introduced me to them. And in addition to that, encourage others to join organizations you're a part of, or organizations you think they may do well in. Participate in things that are on campus, maybe not necessarily within your department, but things that are open to anyone. And then, again, simple introductions if they're with you. That helps so much, especially when you're breaking that awkward, I don't really know if I should say hi or anything like that. No. Break that wall down and say, hey, this is so-and-so who just started working with me here at wherever department you're in. No, the third tip we have, advocate for each other in meetings. So, don't be afraid to recommend someone else to take on a leadership role, or not even that, just an idea they may have, or not even just that, just any kind of idea they may have that maybe you all were talking about it just in casual passing and in the hallway, and you thought, hey, Jasmine had this really good idea. I think we should discuss it here at this meeting. And then if you see that, say, I think she'd be really good at taking on this leadership role and kind of getting everything going. Recognize the other opinions of people in the room, especially other women that are around. That was a really good idea. Let's try that, or let's talk more in depth about it. Respect the opinions of everyone in the room. So not even just recognizing them, but obviously respecting them, because they come with, every individual comes with their own ideas and things like that from previous experience. And there's, they want to bring it to the room. And of course, men, we want you to also empower and do this same type of thing as well. Champion less experienced women for projects. So just because we're new professionals, that doesn't mean we don't have maybe experience in other industries or in other ways that could be framed in a way into student affairs or into whatever project we're working on currently. I come from retail and and K through 12 industry before I came into higher education. So I know a lot of things that I learned in both of those things I've been able to actually use on projects that we've had to do. Collaboration, of course, we always hear this. You want to make sure that you bring everyone's voices to the table and really work on it together as a group. And provide feedback and support. A lot of times, that's what individuals that are bringing out ideas are looking for, is what can we do to make it better, and what can I do to support everything that's going on here. Tip number 5, spend time on the quality of work, not the amount of work. So as a new professional, I'm sure a lot of you, just like me, just like Jasmine, getting into this industry and, being very gung-ho and like, yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. I can do all of this. And then you look at your plate and it's a pile high. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on the depth and not the breadth of things. You want to provide good quality work, just not a lot of work just to get it done and check mark on it. Find a passion. If there's something you really want to be a part of, pursue it. I know for me, I am an academic advisor, but because I have career center background, I've actually been taking it upon myself to help with career development things within the academic advising setting with my fellow colleagues. So it's been a really cool thing because that's something I'm really passionate about. And of course, again, with that pile high of things to do, learn to say no. If there's something that you keep adding on and a colleague says, I could really use the help on this, but you have your own list of things, have that conversation. Don't be afraid to say, well, these are everything that I'm doing, and can we talk about like timelines and priorities and things like that? Just open up that conversation and don't be afraid to say, hey, I just have a lot of stuff going on right now. Right now may not even be the time. And it may not even be just work related. It could be outside things that you just really can't devote the mental or any kind of energy to it. And that's okay. Especially in light of right now with everybody going to digital and all that stuff. It's okay to say no.
So our sixth tip is to be approachable and offer help. So be supportive and sensitive to their transition. Some people may adjust slower or faster than others or than you did. And so just create a collaborative and open space for them. Don't be afraid to ask them if they need assistance with things. Sometimes people are afraid to ask for help. So, make sure that others are good to go in their transition, and then share on opportunities in and outside of your wheelhouse. If you're on a listserv and maybe this is something for a NASPA knowledge community, but you think that someone else would really enjoy that. That's personally how I became the Region 3 representative for the socioeconomic and class issues knowledge community, is because someone just randomly sent it to me and was like, I know you're interested in this. Would you like to apply? And so just doing those type of things, even if they're not involved in what you're involved in, could really open a door for them, or they can share it with someone else and open the door for them. Number 7 is to be open about your own vulnerability. So we all have shortcomings. We all have things that we struggle with. Sometimes telling other people that will have them feel more comfortable. And so you can empower them by telling them, hey, I struggled with that too. Like, you're not alone. Grad school is hard. And so we had one of our lovely women that helped us with this said that fail means first attempt in learning. And that's really stuck with me. And so just don't, or maybe your second or third attempt, you may be sailing as your second attempt or your 7th attempt, but just know that even whenever you don't get something right, that you can still bring something from it, and that you can empower someone else by telling them like how you fixed it or how you got better through it. Number 8 is dismantling the shame around discussing salaries. So first, we wanted to say that set some boundaries for discussing salaries. Sometimes you want to, there are people that want to discuss it and some people that just don't feel comfortable with it. And recognize who you are in that, and don't feel pressured to say anything. We are not saying here that you need to discuss your salary. But if you do, and that's something that you want to do, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to talk to other women about what you're making, or if you think that they should be making a certain amount, or having that conversation with them in a respectful way is something that can be welcomed in our profession. And then with salary negotiation, there's the American Association of University Women. And so that is, A&M has a branch of it, Texas A&M does, but some other places do as well. And so looking at that and seeing, there's some salary tips on there. So looking at that as a resource. And then also for some schools, there's public salary information. You can look at that if you're trying to see if you're making as much as you deserve to make. But then also utilizing your peers. And that's where you empower others. You talk to them and say, hey, can you help me with this, with figuring out this salary? And then they'll help, maybe they can talk to you and help you out and tell you, go through it with you. And then, maybe in that you're empowering them to also do that later in their career. So don't be afraid to ask for help from others. And then whenever you approach the topic with your supervisor, use a pretty direct approach. Don't say, oh, you talked about this with someone else. And, you know, be confident, be you. Don't forget to practice, and you got it if you want to go for it. And then our last two, so number 9 is setting up measurable targets, so achievements are tangible. So most of us know about SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. But kind of expanding on this is to enlist the help of an accountability buddy. So asking someone else and saying, hey, these are my goals. Can you help me be accountable for these? And maybe in that, they'll also want to create their own goals and have them be accountable for you. So you're empowering others by having them be your accountability and to help you reach your goals. And then also doing a 360 degrees. So that's where you can tell mentors, but you can also tell peers. And you can also look at feedback and reports to be like, what would be the best goal for me that's realistic and tangible, and it's great for both me and the people around me. So it's really important to look at the whole, everybody around you whenever you're making those goals. And then lastly, accept and embrace individuality. We don't have the same life experiences. Me and Maritza are completely different in the way that we came up, the way that we do stuff. Like I said, the environment does take a big toll in how we grew up. And so don't be afraid to be who you are, but empower others in the way that they want to be empowered. So you can do that by taking personality assessments. I know A&M is really big on Strengths Quest. Other people like True Colors, MBTI, whatever works for you. Don't be afraid to utilize that. And then have other people take it too. Ask them, say, hey, I wonder what yours is. How can we work together and figure out what our, how our personalities get together and how we can support each other through this profession. And so those are our 10 tips that we had. In our original presentation was going to be a lot more discussion-based and talking about our lived experiences and the struggles that can come with all of it. But with that, we also have a little quick cute flyer that we made. We're all going to put it up on our walls. You're more than welcome to do as well. We have a quick link, tx.ag/10tips. And with that, we have asked for any questions, or if anyone has any other tips that they think that needed to be expanded upon or that they've used that's been really great, we would love to hear that from y'all.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jasmine and Maritza, so much for your time. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself directly and let us know. There's a request if you can go back to show the link again with the tips.
Sorry about that. There you go.
Well, I will ask, I know you shared your tips, probably if you can share just an additional piece of what you think in your learnings and in the work that you've done with this group, what has been some of the most meaningful connections that you've made that you wanted to share with everyone?
So I know for me, you know, as I had kind of mentioned before, I started off working with the other individuals in our group at the Career Center, and long story short, I felt that it was time for me to expand on my professional career. So I actually leaned upon one of them in particular, and talked to her about, what do I need to do? Just what do I do? I don't know. And in having that conversation with her and kind of talking about the strengths that I did have and all of these things, I was able to find a better position for myself within academic advising that made just the world to me and helped. Again, opening up that of not even just my own vulnerabilities, but her own, and listening to her lived experiences and finding out that she went through the same thing I did. And it took for her to leave to find something that was more worthwhile. So definitely that, when you feel stuck, sometimes you just do need to have that conversation with someone else. And again, A&M's huge, but I still talk to these ladies quite often, so it's been good. And of course, on a personal and a professional sense. So.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question really quick?
Yeah, not a problem. Just generally, what have been some of the main connections that you found as you've been doing this work with the group of women? What's been most meaningful for you?
I think the most meaningful is whenever we were talking about these tips, just realizing how much they really have, like, I've really done this for other people, but also that these women did it for me, and like celebrating each other's strengths and connecting me to the right people. Like, one of the people in our meeting is literally the person who got me into grads, who helped me figure out what grad school I wanted to go through and navigated that entire process. And so just really like talking to them and realizing, wow, like other people were doing this for me. And then I'm thinking about my own experiences and saying that I've actually helped other people. I've connected people. I've done this before. And so me as a grad student, even doing this just helped me realize that it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter where you are in your professional experience. No matter what, you can still empower others, and you can still support people that are maybe older than you, maybe more experienced in other ways. But it just, working with them made me realize that I've really been doing this stuff, and I am someone who can empower, and I'm not just the only person I'm not just at the like graduate student level bottom that people think of.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you again to both of you for your presentation and for your time. If anybody has any follow-up questions, if you all wouldn't mind dropping your contact information in the chat, if anybody wants to follow up. We are going to take a quick break